Hey guys, what's up? This is Diego here at Cinemageddon Reviews. Well, we did it. We've hit a major milestone on this channel. Cinemageddon Reviews finally has 1,000 subscribers. I am so grateful to each and every one of you who have supported this channel through the years. I can definitely say the same about Sebastian. We have worked so hard for you guys over the past few years, back from our humble beginnings when we were just a Facebook page, all the way up until today. We have learned, we have evolved, we've done our best to make sure that the content is as exciting and entertaining and interesting as possible, and as consistent as possible. So to reach this milestone at this level of this channel is really kind of like a vindication of everything we worked so hard on. So once again, thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. Okay, cut this happy music. This is not jerking any tears. Let's just get into the topic of this video. So the title of this video, well, rather the subtitle, is Why I Love Movies. This is a video essay that I've wanted to do for a little while now. It's sort of going to be a double topic. The first thing I'm going to talk about is why I love movies personally, and then afterwards I'll talk about why I think movies are important in general. And then the third thing, okay, I'm bad at math, leave me alone. The third thing I'm going to talk to you about is what my goals are and what I'm doing every day to try to achieve those goals. This is going to explain why I sometimes disappear from this channel for a little while every now and then, and just sort of explain what things are going on in my life right now. So let's start with the million-dollar question. Diego, why do you love movies? I grew up in southern Puerto Rico, and I was a pretty impressionable kid. I always wanted to be whatever I saw on TV or whatever my friends and family were into. For example, my dad was really into baseball, so when I was like 7 years old, I wanted to play for the Yankees. The very first superhero movie that I saw in theaters was Spider-Man, so I wanted to be Spider-Man. Jurassic Park 3 had come out the year before that, so I wanted to be a paleontologist. I think you get the point. But when I was in high school, everyone knew what they wanted to go to college for except me. I had spent all this time following in others' footsteps that I didn't really know what I wanted for myself. But that all changed when I first saw The Shawshank Redemption in the 11th grade. It was an awesome movie. It's since become one of my favorites of all time, and after I saw it, I knew that I wanted to make movies. Right after that, I started doing my own research about how to make movies so that when I did go to film school, I didn't start off with zero knowledge. This is where I discovered one of my biggest screenwriting influences, as well as criticism influences, and that is Chris Stuckmann. He has since stopped reviewing movies, but he taught me how to see flaws in movies and how to appreciate film as an art, not just a mindless form of entertainment. I think he also inspired my work ethic as a screenwriter too. Eventually, because of increasing money problems, my family and I moved to Florida from Puerto Rico, which is where we live now, and I wanted to go to film school and make my dreams come true. But there were people in my life at this point who were telling me that it just wasn't going to happen, and eventually, the impressionable kid that I still was, and because I couldn't afford to go to school at that point, I internalized what they said, and I did give up on my dreams for a while. I was in a dark place for about a year or so. There was a hole inside that I was trying to fill up, and I wasn't trying to be a filmmaker anymore, and for a while I even forgot why that hole was there in the first place. I had a job at Walmart, which if you know anything about Walmart, you know that it's not exactly the best place to work. I had a relationship, I guess you could call it that, with a girl who didn't love me and was very manipulative and toxic. These are things that I held on to because everyone kept telling me that this was the formula for happiness in the real world. You know, you get married, you get a job, you have kids, the end. It was also because at that point in my life, I was convinced that if I couldn't make the things in my life last, that there would be nothing else after that. So I put a lot of unfair pressure on myself. That's something that I actually still struggle with a lot today, between my anxiety, depression, and imposter syndrome. But the truth I couldn't face was that I was still not happy, even despite trying really hard to be happy. And there are some things that I don't feel comfortable telling you. Honestly, very difficult things that I went through as far as my mental health. These are things that I recently went to see a therapist about. It's actually why I was absent from this channel for a little while. It was kind of like old wounds just opened up again. Wow, holy shit, this is dark as fuck. Whew. Eventually I lost my job, and the girl that I was with left me, and I had nothing. And my depression just got way worse. And what got me over that was actually my love for movies. My passion was still there, the dream was still there, I just kind of like forgotten about it for a while, and I had somehow forgotten why I fell in love with movies in the first place. That's when I realized that shitty jobs that just pay the bills, and people that lie and hurt you, and all these things that people in your life convince you that you need, it all eventually goes away, and at the end of the day, all you have is you, is who you are. And movies are who I am. Even when I had nothing, I had movies. So I got back on the horse, so to speak. I started looking at whatever I could find to give me some kind of education in film. Eventually, I did find a school that I liked. I went to the Art Institute of Tampa, and I graduated in 2019 with a bachelor's in digital film and video production. I even made 2 short films, Dirty Riches and Murder You, both of which are available on YouTube right now. If you want to check them out, those films are okay. You know, one is definitely better than the other by a lot, but they were learning experiences. I sort of learned the do's and don'ts of film production and what it takes to produce, write, direct, edit, and how to basically be a one-man crew, because that's what everybody in the indie film industry starts out as. Those experiences, I'm grateful to say, also allowed me to be myself, unapologetically. I wrote and directed both of those films, and I just wrote what I wanted. I cast who I wanted, I did what I wanted, I didn't give a shit whether it was easier to do something one way or another. I just did what I loved, the way that I wanted, and whether they didn't turn out so well or not, I loved doing it, and I would do it again.
Hey, who left this bowl of onions here?
So there you have it. Movies to me are very important, not just because they're entertaining, but because they've also helped me understand myself and give me a path in life. Ever since I fell in love with movies, I've known exactly what I wanted to do with my life. And maybe I didn't know it all the time, but that's who I am. They make me feel fulfilled. They make me see things from a different perspective. They've even taught me a lot about life and have gotten me through some pretty difficult times in my life. I think for that reason, among many others, movies are actually pretty important for society, for individuals, for communities, etc., etc. They bring people together, you know, they give people hope. They give folks who are going through a lot something to look forward to. You know, if you think about Star Wars and Marvel, for example, these are things that people from all around the world love, people who have nothing in common. A lot of people say that they need to stop making so many Marvel movies or Star Wars movies, and I very strongly disagree. They have taught us to listen to others, to look beyond outward appearances and look at other ways of solving problems. Now, don't get me wrong, as someone who reviews movies, I'm guilty of saying some of those phrases sometimes. You know, they need to stop making so many Fast and the Furious movies or Transformers movies. And I mean, I'm not going to stop saying that. As hypocritical as that might be, I'm not going to stop saying it, but at the end of the day, that's still my own opinion, and I have to be honest with myself. But there's no denying that these movies, whether you like them or not, they form communities. You know, they make friends, they make families. There, I said it, they make family. You happy, Vin Diesel? As someone who struggles with mental health, movies often help me remember that there are some things that are still worth looking forward to. You know, it's not just the big life events. You know, like your wedding, or your best friend's wedding, or your ex's funeral. Because a lot of times life can get pretty rough, and it's important to have movies that can cheer you up. They can make you laugh, excite you, scare you, and most importantly, make you forget about your problems for a couple hours, which is incredibly valuable. You'd actually be surprised how much better you can feel after watching some of your favorite movies. Movies have even helped shape the course of history and inspired positive change. There was a documentary released in 2013, it was called Blackfish, and it was an expose on SeaWorld and the way that they mistreat their captive animals. And all of this sort of came to light after an orca named Tilikum killed his trainer in a very brutal and tragic fashion. According to the documentary, this was actually the 3rd incident with Tilikum that had occurred, and SeaWorld was obviously covering up a lot of animal abuse and 2 other tragic deaths dating back over 20 years before the release of this movie. But Blackfish completely changed SeaWorld and the way a lot of people view it nowadays. You know, SeaWorld lost a lot of money, they stopped breeding captive orcas and holding live shows with them. Even the CEO that they had at the time stepped down because he was caught trying to cover up loss of revenue to his investors. This is just one of the many examples that show you how influential and powerful movies can be in affecting positive change in the world. Now, I don't personally want to be a documentary filmmaker, but I believe pretty firmly that movies are capable of changing the world. Because if you watch a movie, for example, and afterwards it changes the way that you think about something, like a person's situation that maybe you weren't able to relate to before, then it did change the world, you know, at least a little bit. And that's kind of what I want to do with my life. I want to change the world with my movies. As cringe as that may sound, that's what I want to do. As of this video, and by that I mean as of the time that I'm writing what I'm going to say in this video, and mark. I'm not currently working on any film projects right now, but I have been developing a few screenplays. I write a little bit every day. I try to make that a part of my daily routine. I've actually been nominated in quite a few festivals recently for my work. There's one script that is actually pretty successful. It's a story called Scales of the West. It's a western that takes place in a version of the Old West where all the animals are dinosaurs. It's actually partially inspired by the works of an artist named Shaun. He does these really fun, like, dinosaur cartoons that have, like, people riding on the backs of them. It was actually pretty fun. So, Mr. Keenan, if by chance you're watching this, your work really inspired me, thank you very much. I'd just like to thank you in person. Maybe we could talk sometime and see about collaborating on something? Worth a try. I'm still trying to get my work out there. I'm coming up with new ideas all the time. I've got plenty of more screenplays stocked up and ready to be optioned or made or whatever. I'm just trying really hard to get paid to do what I love. And maybe one day I'll get there. One thing's for sure, I'm very fortunate and very grateful that right now I have a pretty supportive group of people in my life, between my family and my friends and my girlfriend. Thank you all so much for all your love and support. It really means the world to me. I'm also a part of a small writers group, the Blackwood Writers Guild, with some really talented people that I went to college with. You guys have all helped me so much. I'm a much better writer thanks to all of you guys. Thank you guys so much. Really, I just wish you guys all the best. And to Sebastian, of course, who brought me onto this channel back when we first started. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful that I get to talk about movies with you on this channel. And to all 1,000 plus of our subscribers, thank you all so much. Okay, so yeah, that was my 1,000 subscriber special. As I said, I wanted to get that out for a while now. I figured 1,000 subscribers is one heck of a milestone, so now is actually the perfect time to make a video like this. This is just something that I wanted to do just so you guys could get to know me a little better, because I don't feel like you knew much about me before this video, so hopefully that helped. Also, it just feels good to talk about myself sometimes, you know, helps me feel better about certain things, put things in perspective. You know, maybe I can look back on this video and hopefully feel better about myself. Once again, thank you guys so much for supporting Cinemageddon Reviews. We really value and appreciate all of you. 1,000 subscribers could not have happened without each and every one of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, don't worry, guys. The reviews are just going to keep on coming. Very soon, I'm going to be reviewing Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm also working on a new spoiler analysis video. This is for a Netflix movie that came out last year, so stay tuned for that as well. Sebastian has his review of Dear Evan Hansen coming out very soon, as well as a couple other projects that he's been working very hard on, so stay tuned for that. The content's just going to keep on coming, you guys, so you're going to want to subscribe and stay tuned. As always, be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and please support our Patreon. We really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Diego for Cinemageddon Reviews, and I'll see you on the Wasteland.